V1, rotate. Oh, we're getting quite a bit of headwind here. What's going on, guys? Flyby Simulations here, and welcome back to another full flight video on this channel. So today, as you guys can probably see, we are in a very black Air New Zealand livery, and if you guys have not recognized this airport so far, I would say that you guys are kind of living under a rock because the title kind of gives it away, but the airport is November Zulu Whiskey November, or Wellington International Airport, and I, for one, love Wellington because, as it happens, this is a pretty special airport for me. This is the first airport that I ever landed at, or actually the first airport where I ever took off from in any simulator ever. It was an X-Plane 11. It was around 4 or 5, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and I did this very same flight in X-Plane 11 along with a friend of mine who taught me how to fly. I took this aircraft. I don't think it was the same call sign or anything, but it was indeed an Air New Zealand. And we took it all the way from Wellington International over here, all the way to the North Island, to the capital of this beautiful country, which is Auckland International Airport, November Zulu Alpha Alpha. And I thought, why not commemorate that amazing sort of event in my life where I first actually got introduced into flight simulation, and take this aircraft in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, and do the same flight with it. So that's what I've decided to do, and this is going to be the second episode in our Around the World series. So we're currently parked at a gate. I forgot what gate it is. I think it's gate 30 at November Zulu Whiskey November. This is a modded airport. If you guys go to flightsim.2, which is a mod website for Microsoft Flight Simulator, you guys can go ahead and find this this specific airport with the correct taxiways and better buildings and some good objects and stuff that they've placed. Like, all of this stuff is okay. Something's happening to that that baggage driver, but whatever. So all of these items that have been placed into the inside the scenery are all sort of custom objects. So if you guys want to go ahead and download the scenery, I'll link it down in the description section of the video. There's also a Auckland airport enhancement scenery pack that I've also linked down in the description. So that's going to be our arrival airport, and that's also been enhanced. So it's been pretty good in terms of the development that's been happening for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 in the freeware department as of now. So I'm pretty happy about it. But yeah, without rambling too much, let's just go ahead and take this A320neo mod all the way from here in Wellington to Auckland. So let's jump into the flight deck, guys. Alright, so welcome to the flight deck. We don't have any wind noises anymore. Let's go up to the overhead panel and get the external power all started up. There we go. Let's get the batteries up and running. Adjust the ventilation. There we go. And let's get some overhead integral lights. And the dome light can come on as well. Emergency exit light can come on, and the no smoking can go to auto. And let's also get the nav and logo light on here. Again, the problem that I was talking about in the previous episode with the first officer's displays causing a little bit of stuttering and lag in the simulator, that's still not been fixed entirely, so we'll be flying without the first officer's displays. Hopefully you guys don't mind, and now it's much more smoother on my end. I did notice that that it was much smoother on the YouTube side, so after it was done rendering and all of that, it looked much smoother, but it's really bad on my personal end here. When I'm actually recording this video, it's really, really stuttery if I don't have these displays turned off, so hope you guys don't mind. Let's go ahead and also get some lighting in the rest of the aircraft. There we go. And we'll go ahead and start aligning the IRS systems here as well. So IRS systems can now come alive. And let's go ahead and start entering our information into the MCDU. So going into the init page, we're taking off from beautiful November Zulu Whiskey November and going all the way to November Zulu Alpha Alpha, which is Auckland International Airport. Let's go ahead and punch that in, and also go ahead and align the IRS systems. Confirm the alignment. There we go. Flight number is going to be Alpha November Zulu ANZ 450. Pretty easy to remember. Sorry, entered that in the wrong field there. There we go. And I'll again put a load sheet right here for you guys to see what information I'm inputting in terms of the flight plan and the cost index and all of that stuff. So I'm, again, using Sim Toolkit Pro. It's a fantastic tool. It allows me to measure my rate of landing and all of that stuff. So it's pretty cool. Okay, so alternate airport's going to be November Zulu Whiskey November. So if anything ends up happening in the middle of our flight, we're basically just turning and coming back right here. So that's good to know. Cost index for today's flight is going to be, I'm going to pop out that reference card one more time and get it into the simulator. Okay, so cost index is again going to be 5, and our cruising altitude is going to be 270. That's all entered in there. And let's go to the second page and also call the fuel truck. So switch this to kilograms, and let's get some fueling information in here. So the block fuel for today's flight, it's a very short flight. It's only 45 minutes. So we're going to be taking... how much is that? 6.5 tons. So I'm just going to go ahead and enter that in here. Round about the same that we took for the previous flight from Copenhagen to Helsinki. If you guys haven't watched that, the card at the top right hand of the screen should take you to that video. That's also a very beautiful flight. Payload is 18 tons, just like it was in the previous episode as well. So let's go ahead and marginally increase that payload. There we go, 19,000, 18,000. That's a little bit too less. Oh, we're struggling. Okay, there we go. That's about it. And let's enter that information in there. Zero fuel weight is actually 61.96. So that's about 62.0 tons. We're going to go ahead and enter that in. And the block fuel happens to be 6.6 in our case. So let's also go ahead and enter that in the block fuel tab over here. There we go. What else do we have? Now we're going to go ahead and enter our flight plan. So from November Zulu Foxtrot, Whiskey November, we're departing from runway runway 16 here. Beautiful. And we're taking the Taxu 5 Quebec departure. So let's go ahead and scroll down. There we go, Taxu 5 Quebec departure. And the transition for that is going to be the Rousseau transition. There we go, enter that in. Insert that, and let's go ahead and enter the rest of the route in right here. So after Camdo, which I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to be Camdo, it's supposed to be Rousseau. I think we specified that. I don't know why it didn't actually, wait a second. If I go into Rousseau and say Airways, it still says Camdo. I don't know why that's it. But it's okay. Whatever it is, we'll go ahead and deal with it. So Yankee 127 is going to be our VIA, and we're going to be taking that all the way to Opabi. So Oscar, Papa, Echo, Bravo, India. And I think there might be a confusion. No. Okay, so then we're taking Quebec 277 from here. So Quebec 277 airway. And taking that all the way to Davie. Just like Davy Jones in Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't know if you guys are fans or not, but I am a huge Pirates of the Caribbean fan. Okay, and from Davie, we are taking Dave 5 Bravo arrival into Auckland. So runway is going to be 05 right. So ILS 05 right. And the Davie 5 Bravo arrival. We don't really have any VIAs as far as I can see, but I guess if it's saying Lengu is the appropriate VIA, we're going to go with it and say insert. And flight plan's all good to go and all done. Before we start entering our performance data, let's also go ahead and start up the APU here. So let's get the APU flap running. Let's also brighten up the displays here. We don't like looking at dark displays in the flight deck. There we go. Upper and lower ECAMs are taken care of. We can get the inboard and outboard display units as well, and also some backlighting for the autopilot panel over here. There we go. Looks all good. And flaps open, so let's go ahead and start the APU there. Perfect. And let's also load up our trusty little AppSoft toolbox tool to be able to get the perfect information for our performance data for takeoff. Now, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see all this, so I'll again leave a little screenshot on the screen as soon as I get all the information for the performance calculations for the takeoff. So go ahead and enter the ICAO code, November Zulu Whiskey November, runway 16 departure, weather calculated, and the predicted takeoff weight for today, as far as I can tell, is going to be 68.3 tons, so 68,300 kilograms. There we go. And let's calculate all of that stuff. And we have our V-speed, so it's going to be 145, 150, 150 with a 48 degrees flex temperature. Okay, so let's go ahead and enter all that stuff in. V1 is going to be 145 knots, and both the VR and the V2 are going to be 150 knots, which is all good to go. Transition altitude is 13,000 feet. I remember this because I looked at it on the charts. I'll again leave a picture of the charts right on screen right now so you guys can verify that and reprimand me in the comment section if I'm wrong. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and enter the flap position. So 2 Delta November 0.0, so nothing on the trim. And flex temperature, as mentioned, is going to be 48 degrees. And there we go. That's the MCDU programming all good to go. 99% of the APU, just as we said that, the APU is now available. Let's get the APU bleed on and the external power off. No longer need that. There you go. You can hear the faint rumble of the air entering the cabin. So the bleed air is being pressurized and regulated before being fed into the engine. Again, a little ode to my Aircraft Dissected series that I have to do every single time I upload one of these videos. I'm doing an Aircraft Dissected series on my channel, guys. It's basically a deep dive into every single system within the A320 family of aircraft. And so far, 2 episodes have been uploaded. I go into extreme depth. So far, the left column of the overhead panel as well as the the central column of the overhead panel has been covered in detail. So all of these systems, the fuel system, the electrical system, the air conditioning system, has been explained in great depth. So if you're willing to learn and really wanting to get into this hobby of flight simulation, regardless of if you're new or like sort of a veteran flight simmer, there's always stuff to learn for you from that series. So I really put in a lot of effort. I'll link that also down in the description section of the video if you guys want to go check that out and support me if you have the time. So, okay, so with that all that said, we still have about 1 minute for the IRS alignment to take place. So in the meantime, let's also set the flight directors on both sides, get constraint on my side, airport on their side, set the auto throttle up for departure, and I'm also going to check out what the METAR data is. So according to Sim Toolkit Pro, the current METAR suggests that the QNH is 1016 here. So let's go ahead and set 1016 on both sides. There we go, IRS is aligned. And we'll also go ahead and set the QNH on the standby display down here. There we go. Also, what we can do here is check our initial climb with the Taxu 5 Quebec departure, or the Taxu 5 Quebec departure. Initial climb is at or above 3,000 feet. So we can set 3,000 feet for now, and then we'll dial that up as we continue our departure. Okay, so we're pretty much good to go, guys. Crew supply can come on, and yeah, we can also get these seatbelt signs on here. There's really nothing much to do. Our departure time for today's flight is going to be 6:10 p.m. and currently, as you can see, it's 5:58 p.m. in the simulator. So we are 10 minutes early in terms of the pushback. We actually got that done very quickly. I think that was around maybe 12 minutes. We got everything prepped. So we got the aircraft from a cold and dark state all the way to a basically like ready to start engines and get rolling state in less than 15 minutes, which is very impressive. So yeah, let's just go ahead and depart, guys. It's okay if we depart 10 minutes early. It's always better in terms of the passengers and stuff if we depart early rather than late. I've also downloaded an extra plugin, which is very, very helpful because I really do hate the pushback plugin within the simulator. Itself, the inbuilt simulator, as there's quite a bit of a delay when you're trying to push back from the gate. And the specific plugin that I've downloaded, I don't know if you guys can see it on screen, basically allows me to adjust my pushback in real time and also configure it as I go. So you guys are going to see what I'm saying. I have the tool pulled up here. I don't know if the screen recorder is recording it, but let's go ahead and get prepared for pushback. So we have... we'll go ahead and set the TCAS on and set the squawk code to 2000 over here. We'll also go ahead and get the strobe light to auto and the beacon light on and get all the fuel pumps on. And we'll activate the pushback here. So, if I press Shift P. Oh, no, Shift P again, one more time. There we go. We can see that the pushback truck is connecting to the aircraft, and we should be good to go momentarily. So I have this plugin right here, which basically allows me to essentially push myself back in real time and basically not have that annoying thing where I give ATC an instruction and then they repeat it back to me, and only then will the aircraft start pushing me back in a particular direction, which takes a lot of time and sometimes leads to messy pushback procedures, which is not something that I enjoy particularly. So yeah, this pushback really kind of helps me do that in real time, and it's extremely helpful. Okay, so pushback is starting, so let's go ahead and lock the door and set the parking brake to off and start engine number 2 on the push as usual. And we have a bus. Something with the ground traffic always has to interfere in our videos. Okay, so now we're pushing back straight. We want to push back towards what direction? Let me just check that real quick. We're departing runway 16. So yeah, we want to push back towards this side. So nose, what is it going to be? Nose left, tail right. So we're going to go ahead and say pushback tuck and start pushing us to the right about now. And as you can see, it's instant as compared to the stock Microsoft Flight Simulator pushback mechanism. All right, now we're going to go straight and then again take a little bit of a right about now. There we go. And that should basically plot us right onto the taxiway. And why is this fuel truck trying to purposefully back into us? It's not very helpful. Alright, yeah, it's going away now. There we go. This is much better. And we can go ahead and stop the pushback right there. There we go. How smooth was that, guys? I'll leave a link to that plugin also down in the description section of the video, so you guys can check it out and download it. It's very, very helpful. So, 19.7% on engine number 2. We can also go ahead and start engine number 1. Should have done that a tad bit sooner, but it's alright. And the taxi route's going to be pretty simple. So, basically just going to go straight here, maybe take a left and backtrack all the way across this primary runway in this airport, and then basically take off like that. And zoom, we go over there, over the water, into the clouds. Quite cloudy here as well. I don't know, I seem to not be able to escape the clouds in the simulator. I always want to do a clear flight where I can see the scenery and stuff like that, but I just haven't been lucky enough to find. Like, I fly with real weather, although the time of day is set to like the realistic time when the actual aircraft departed. I don't have historical weather set. I have live weather set. So currently, Wellington is shrouded in a layer of thick clouds at a very low ceiling, so can't really do anything about that. In other news, engine number 1 is firing up. We have 17% N1, should be having 19.7% very, very soon. There we go. Engine 1 is started. Engine mode can come to normal. Arm the spoilers. We can also set the parking brake. Forgot to do that. We'll get the flaps to position 2. We can get the flight control page up, and we can do a flight control check. So full up, full down, all the way to the left, all the way to the right, and rudder left. Still very twitchy, just like the previous episode, and rudder all the way to the right. There we go. And flight control page can be dismissed. We can get on the engine page, get the taxi light on, APU can come off, and we can go ahead and also turn off the dome light. We don't need it anymore. And set the parking brake off, and we are pretty much ready to go, guys. So give it all the power-hungry thrust this aircraft needs. So around about 30... How much are we giving it? 35, 36%? Probably going to be taking a left here. Actually, no. We can just continue going straight and take a left right here. It actually doesn't matter. We can just go ahead and take a left here and basically have to backtrack all the way across this runway as mentioned before. Not very hard to do, people. But yeah, the channel is pretty damn close to 1,000 subscribers, so thank you for everybody who's been supporting the channel and watching the Aircraft Dissected series as well as the Full Flight series. It truly means a lot to me, and I'm super happy that I'm able to make the most out of my time in quarantine and help the community out in whatever way I can. So if you guys haven't subscribed yet, which I know looking at my analytics, nearly 50% of the people watching this video aren't subscribed to the channel, so please subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. It's absolutely free. If you guys don't know how to do it, there's a big red button right underneath which says subscribe. And if you just subscribe to this channel, that motivates me constantly to keep bringing high quality videos to you guys, just like this and the Aircraft Dissected series. But yeah, let's go also go ahead and do the takeoff config test here. There we go, takeoff config is checked. It's going to be a pretty short taxi, so let's also go ahead and tell the cabin crew to sit down.
Cabin crew, seats for takeoff, please.
Alright. Seats for takeoff, please. That was said by our very American captain slash first officer in an Air New Zealand flight. So, that's alright. And what else can we do here? Everything else is pretty much good to go. There's nothing much to do. Also, in other news, I don't know if you guys have seen, but there's been news about development of a 787 by Quality Wings, who's very popular in the P3D world, P3D FSX world. They're developing it for Microsoft Flight Simulator, their rendition of the 787, which I'm super excited about. But so are Flight Factor for X-Plane 11. So Flight Factor have also come out with their latest renderings for the 787 that they're developing for X-Plane 11, so I'm super excited about that. That gives me another aircraft to be able to cover for the Aircraft Dissected series. So if you guys, again, want to watch that, make sure to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon for future notifications so that you guys don't miss any videos that I publish. Alright, here we're probably going to be taking a left. We can go all the way, but I don't really think we need it. Our flex temperature is going to be 48 degrees, so I think we should be able to take off in the runway that we have available here. Alright, as we approach the runway, we're also going to get the runway turnoffs on, landing lights, takeoff taxi lights, get the weather radar up and running, predictive wind shear can come on, TCAS can come on, and what else? We'll do a standing takeoff just to be all proper and stuff. Rolling takeoffs aren't really a norm, so actually they kind of are a norm in rural airports like this. Remote airports, not rural, my bad. Okay, let's get set. Auto brake max. Everything is good to go. Flaps set. Ground spoilers are armed. Cabin crew have been advised to sit their buttocks down. Auto brake has been armed. Initial climb altitude has been set. QNH is set. Everything is good to go, people. Let's go ahead and depart. 50% thrust. Symmetric thrust established. Let's go all the way. Manflex SRS runway. Auto thrust is blue. There we go. I'm going to have to apply quite a bit of right rudder there to keep the aircraft on the center line, but the speed is increasing very, very well. Not worried about going into the drink. V1, rotate. Oh, we're getting quite a bit of headwind here. There we go. Smooth departure. Positive brake, gear up. Oh. Flight director is telling us to turn right. And we're immediately going to be entering the cloud layer. It's very low, the ceiling here. Let's go ahead and take flap 1. And I don't know why the aircraft is asking me to take a right here. I think it's not going to go all the way straight. It's just taking a right immediately after. Alright, lever climb. And we're going to get the pitch of the aircraft down. There we go. Oh my god, it dropped all the way down to a negligible altitude there. And there we go. Again, we're nearing flap 2 speed, so let's take flap 2. And we'll go ahead and arm the autopilot. Let the aircraft do all the hard work. And we have quite a bit of heavy terrain here, guys. I don't really find this too comfortable in the sense that I don't really want to go crashing into all of this stuff. There's the shore. Look at that. That looks beautiful. The city of... is it the city of Wellington or the province of Wellington or the state of Wellington? I don't know what it is, but it's Wellington, guys. That much I'm sure about. Alright, so we're going to be taking a right turn towards Baksan, and we're nearing our initial climb. So we'll go ahead and set a higher altitude in here as well. So 270 is set, and climb mode is also set. We have a few windmills in front of us. We're getting a little bit of turbulence as we pass through these clouds. 3,000 feet, and we're continuing to go up. Alright, so we can go ahead and turn off the runway turnoff lights as well as the nose lights, and also disarm the spoilers. No longer need that anymore. And let's go ahead and see what the view looks like from the right wing. Alright guys, that was a very short right wing view that you guys got. We are in the thick of the clouds, and I think the ceiling extends a little bit higher, a few thousand feet higher, so we're not going to be able to see much. As usual, I'm going to be dividing the full flight into 2 episodes. One was this departure episode, and the other episode, which will be coming out right with this episode. So you guys can click the link at the very end, and there we go, we're breaking away from the clouds. Looks fantastic. You guys can watch the entire climb, cruise, descent, and landing into Auckland in the next episode. So until then, I bid you farewell, and thanks for flying by.